aware were you of the story, and what kind of drew you into this bizarre and compelling story?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the story, even though it obviously happened in the United States. I was probably a little too young to know about it. I wasn't watching the news when I was that young, and I don't really think it got picked up very broad. Even though it's a big deal. That someone of his stature murdered someone. But it kind of just went away. Went away in the news, and who knows why or how or if anyone had anything to do with that or not. But that's what was kind of nice about it is that there was a lot of information and footage on these guys on the internet, but I was kind of coming to it for the first time. So it was cool.
And what about the physicality, the jaw, the stance, the walk? How did all that come together, and how did that kind of?
That's really just Mark. I mean, I wish I could say I created that, but really it was just me mimicking Mark. I mean, that's really the way he walks. It's really the way. I crush up the noodles and eat it. He grabs his fork and kind of uses his fork in not a way that I use mine. And I just sort of sponged all that up. How he'll just sit there and the way he listens to you is even kind of different than the way that I normally see people when they're listening. And it's I really just took that and then listened to Bennett. It was just really let Bennett kind of paint the picture in a way.
And in terms of Mark being around on set, how kind of intimidating was that? Or was that still quite valuable having him there?
Both, and I really mean that. There were certain scenes I could never have got the little piece of insight that I needed to play it, and then at other times it was kind of confusing. When you have someone that's the real person there, and you feel that they ultimately go, I don't know, it's not the way I would do that. You go, oh God, and then you really kind of have to look to your director to really help you find the way, because it can really be the most beautiful thing, and then even down to I wasn't wearing a blue sweatshirt, I was wearing a gray sweatshirt, and that type of stuff, which can be so important. It is important in a way, but you can't get sort of hung up in certain aspects, I guess.
And that first scene where we see you and Mark Ruffalo fight, wrestling together, the kind of training scene, I think it just reveals so much about the dynamics between you two. What did you enjoy about creating that fraternal relationship with him and training together before as well?
Yeah, I mean, that scene is how we really warmed up every day. He stretched me out, because we knew we were going to have to shoot that scene, and we really did. We did those stretches every day and more, and then we started wrestling just like that every single day for 7 months. And so that's why it feels so real. It feels so just normal and in our skin, and then to be, I don't know if you know it or not, but there was about 20 to 25 pages, maybe even more, of actual written scene that we went and shot that happens before that scene. And it's nice and great to get to go and do that, because you feel all of that underneath it, because all those pages were therefore it was to set up what our relationship is and to show you how much Dave sort of takes care of Mark. And once you see that scene, you don't need all this other stuff that's basically telling you the redundancy of that.
It's amazing, how much can just get across in that scene without dialogue as well, and having played football and baseball and MMA yourself, how far could you relate to sort of the coach, the kind of dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I've had coaches all my life. Even now in acting, I have an acting coach. I mean, and I think it can be the greatest, pillar of your life, and also, something that, if it's not handled in the right way, it can be a very confusing and sort of painful thing if you don't have a great relationship with them, or if you don't have a very healthy one, I guess. But I completely understand what it's like. I wouldn't ever say that John was ever a coach to Mark, and I think Mark is smart enough to even know that in the story, that John's not teaching him anything. If anything, Mark's teaching him about wrestling, but John is there for him in a different way, and helping him have a life to be able to wrestle and do the things that, that he ultimately dreams to do and accomplish.
And Channing Tatum, congratulations on Foxcatcher.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,